concerns throughout this pandemic for all the nurses and everybody else getting a fresh supply of personal protection equipment.
My name is Melissa Vickers.
Marissa Joyce.
My name is Katie Sonnen Lee.
And I live in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
And I'm from Winston-Salem.
Oh, and I'm from Winston-Salem.
2020 has been a story of scarcity, whether it's toilet paper or hand sanitizer, Clorox wipes, or you name it. So Project Mask was a grassroots effort to provide handmade cloth PPE for physicians and other frontline responders during the coronavirus crisis.
Over 2,000 volunteers here in the local Winston-Salem Triad area.
124,000 masks is where we're at now.
Sewed and created and distributed in about 6 months. There weren't masks to be found, there weren't masks to be had or purchased. And so what we were trying to do was step into that gap and fill that need.
One of our friends had posted about a hospital that had put a call out to its local community saying, we don't have enough masks, we need more masks. Here's a simple pattern that we think will work.
We didn't know at that time what the situation was. And that's how Katie got involved, and Marissa, they kind of chimed in on that post, and she said that they would love to have 150 masks. So that was the first kind of order that we received. And we thought we were just going to do like maybe a couple hundred masks and call it a day. Little did we know.
Like, then the word spread, and more doctors and hospitals and nurses started contacting us. And so we just thought, okay, well, we'll just do a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. And then we got a really big order. I think our first really big one, we were like, okay, this is for real now, was 5,000 masks from Wake Baptist Hospital. And it was so surreal because we're I'm in my basement, like cutting elastic every night and making my husband like count bundles of stuff.
I really think it was just the synergy of the moment. Everybody was stuck at home. Everybody was isolated. People wanted to help. They genuinely did, but nobody knew anything and nobody knew how to help. So here we were giving a concrete way that people can, from a safe social distance in their homes, do something to physically, tangibly help people who were first responders and who were needing the PPE in this epidemic.
And people started saying, hey, I can sew, I know how to sew, I'm happy to help out. But after about day 3 or 4, we realized that it was going to be hard to communicate with everyone. And so we started our own Project Mask Winston-Salem Facebook page.
Melissa, Katie, and I would decide what needed to be communicated and when. We would create branded graphics that looked consistent, that people knew to expect. They knew where to go on the Facebook page, and we would have daily, instructions, updates. We would try to update every day how many masks we had made and distributed. We also tried daily to communicate encouragement. We just found that a lot of our volunteers were very isolated, especially in the spring, and depression was a real thing among the people that we were working with. So we really tried to build up a sense of community through our communication, a sense of being known, even though we were virtual and working with most people were strangers that we didn't know.
We had a whole process where we had volunteers, we had drivers, we had people who would come and pick up fabric at the fabric store, drive it to my house. I would call about 20 volunteers to come and get the fabric. They would take it to their houses, they would wash it and dry it. Then they would get in touch with people who would then in turn pick it up. At that point, they would get the fabric over to another house, and then we started putting them into kits.
But as it grew, we were like, this is not sustainable, because when we had 20 volunteers and we were doing like a couple hundred masks a week, it was one thing. But when we were doing almost 10,000 masks a week, hand sewn masks a week, like that is crazy. We had people hand sewing 10,000 masks a week.
We had a whole system on the website where you could order a kit, and each kit contained enough fabric and elastic to make 24 masks. And so that way we could keep up with the process of how much fabric to order on the front end, because we were dealing with people's money and we wanted to be good stewards of their financial donations. Eventually we received a grant for $25,000 from the city of Winston-Salem. It really helped secure all the fabric that we needed and all the elastic and all those supplies.
We formed very quickly. We formed without a lot of planning or forethought, just as an effort to respond to the demand for masks and the need for it as the crisis was unfolding.
So there were a total of, we think, over 2,000 volunteers. As far as sewers, it had to have been in the hundreds, I would think, easily.
We all just had these perfect jobs and backgrounds to come together to make this whole thing work. Melissa can sew. Marissa does communication. I handled all the financials. We tried to go as much as we could to the local sewing shops and fabric shops so we could, again, support the local economy here. And they're all owned by women in the community, and so we wanted to support that too. From my porch was where we started to distribute materials, and I would call Melissa and be like, I only have 2 yards of fabric left. You have to get more fabric by tomorrow morning. And she would call her friends at the fabric shop. And then we ended up having one in Clemens, one in Kernersville, and one in North Winston as well, where we distributed from.
We wanted to do what we could to help protect the people who needed protection. And we thought masks could end up being not helpful. You know, in March when we started this, there wasn't a lot of research on masks. But wouldn't it be better to try and then find out that what we were doing was redundant? And we really just felt like masks were a tangible way to provide support, provide materials that are needed, but also provide a token of gratitude to the people who are responding on the front line.
So I'm a pediatrician here in Winston-Salem. It's been really wonderful to see Project Mask come together. There's been a community that's built within Project Mask, and that's been really fun to watch. And then to just see the impact that it's had on the community at large is amazing.
We wanted people to be safe. Whether they're at the hospital caring for people, whether they're working for justice, whatever it is, we want everybody to have masks. And so it was really a community effort. And I think the community that we created between the volunteers was excellent. And then I still have relationships with some of the people that we were able to give masks to at their facilities. It was just a really beautiful thing.
So I'm friends with a couple of the women that started the group, and so when they started on Facebook, I was following along closely and was excited and was really encouraged to see all the work that they were doing. And then when they called out to see if there were clinics that needed masks, I knew that we needed masks to offer our children and parents when they came into the clinic. Because at that time, we couldn't buy enough surgical masks for our staff and providers and for the families. And so I reached out to them to get masks provided for our clinic. Receiving the masks has been really, really important and very valuable. So it keeps our patients and our staff safe so that we're not infecting each other. And it allows the children to take home these masks and to wear them in the community and to reduce the spread in the community as well. So I think not only has it been an effective tool here in our practice, but it's actually been a help to the community at large because it encourages mask wearing beyond just the clinic walls. And then because we're giving kids reusable masks, they can then take these masks home and they can wear them to the grocery store or, you know, wherever they're going. So not only are we protecting them here in the office, but we're giving them something that they can use after they go home to stay protected and safe as well. And the kids love, you know, the bright colors of the mask, and they're just more likely to wear it if it's fun and than the kind of boring blue surgical masks.
My friend Katie just texted me today. She was a poll greeter at the polls, and she said that she had spotted several children wearing Project Mask, distributed masks, and she spotted several voters coming wearing masks that were made by us. You can tell because the elastic that we had donated was bright sunshine yellow or olive green, which isn't a very common elastic color.
The gratitude and the immenseness of what we were doing, it was felt really immediately. Masks would go out and then the providers would be taking pictures, you know, and we could tell that they were smiling, and the letters of gratitude, cards, all kinds of things.
So to be able to spot those masks around town, to be able to show up at Black Lives Matter rallies and things like that, and be able to distribute masks free of charge when that's something that was so needed at that point during the summer. I'm not a person who generally looks for applause or credit, so it wasn't something I was trying to do to raise my status in the community or to do anything. I'm a helper. I like to help people, and I like to invest in the world that I want to see. So when I see an opportunity to do that, I try to invest fully.